good morning, YouTube. It is me again, your favorite Texas trucker. I am in Illinois, not too far from Chicago. Headed to Plano so that I can drop this load off. I'll be there in about maybe an hour or so, maybe a little less. But I wanted to drop another video, and the reason for the video is that I've got a good number of people that are talking to me off and on about getting into the trucking industry, or moving from one company to another. And they ask me a lot of questions, and I give them my opinion. And granted, it's just my opinion. Don't make a life decision based on just what I have to say about it, because I'm a little biased. I like my company. I like the pay package that I have for my company. But the whole issue is, well, I'm not going to say the whole issue, but one of the major issues in deciding where you're going to go work has to do with pay. Right? And some of these guys that I'm talking to, I can't get them to stop looking at just the cents per mile. Okay, they get stuck on well, this company pays this per mile, and this company pays this per mile. Your company only pays this per mile, and I want to kind of break that down to you a little bit. You can go to a company that pays, say, 41 cents per mile, okay, and think you're getting a really good deal. But if you're not getting the miles, then you're not getting as good a deal as you guess. Okay. I'm not going to give you figures because I'm driving, and I don't have them. I don't have all the figures worked out, and I don't have them settled down on paper. But you can kind of work it out yourself. I'm going to give you the tools, or try to give you the tools that you can use to work things out. All right. Your pay package is not just cents per mile. Okay. That's why it's called a pay package, because there's more than one thing involved. Okay. Some companies give a bonus. A lot of them will call it something like a longevity bonus, where they'll give you a bonus after you've been there for a certain amount of time. Some of them will give you a sign-on bonus, whereas you get a portion of that sign-on bonus every quarter until it's paid for. Some of them give you tuition reimbursement, so that if you go to a school like, say, Roadmaster or a community college or something that provides for a school, they'll give you tuition reimbursement, usually something like $150 a month or something like that, for at least a percentage, if not all, of the cost of tuition of going to the school. So those are all things to consider when you consider a pay package. Okay. Most companies will give you a base pay. Actually, all companies are going to give you a base pay, and that base pay will be something like, we'll just use my company as an example. As a first-year driver with no experience, graduating from the Millis Training Institute, taking the per diem package on the practical route, you'll make 29 cents per mile. All right. 29 cents per mile is your base, and it's a fairly high average amongst starter companies. Some companies pay as low as 19 cents a mile. I don't know of any that'll take you out of their own training school and start you at more than 29 cents a mile. I don't know, maybe there is one. If there is, I'm not aware of it. So I think we're pretty high up there on the top of the pay scale as far as students graduating from a company-sponsored school. Okay, so that's your base pay. It's 29 cents a mile. So I started with Millis. I haven't finished my first year yet. I went through Millis Training Institute. If you were to ask me what my base pay is 29 cents a mile. Right? And I've already done a video on per diem versus non-per diem. So if you have a question about the per diem versus non-per diem pay packages, then by all means go look at that video. There's too much in that video for me to explain to you, through messaging. If you send me a message and you ask me about the difference between the per diem, non-per diem, I'm going to refer you to go back to my video and watch it, because there's too much information in it for me to just try to give it to you, as a message, which is why I did the video to begin with. Alright, so bottom line though is that you're getting a pay package with a base pay. Alright, now here's where that base pay is not all quite cut and clear. Let's say that
in 1.25 miles, take exit 126P on right to I-55 north.
We'll say 31 cents a mile, okay? And you'll look at the two companies and you'll say, well, you only get 29 cents a mile, but this company's willing to pay me 31 cents a mile, coming out with no experience, okay? My question to that is, how many miles a week are you going to get? Obviously, if you don't work there, you don't have a definite answer to that, because you don't work there, so you don't have anything to base that experience off of. You can ask the recruiter, and the recruiter is going to give you a number. I mean, they're programmed to give you a figure between. Usually, they'll say something like, you'll get between 2,300 and 2,800
take
miles a
exit
week.
126P on right
like,
to I-55 north.
2,500 to 3,500 miles a week. That's what they're going to tell you. And it doesn't really matter whether or not that's a true figure or not, because they're recruiters. Okay, and here's a fact for you, and it's not 100%, but it is a fact, and that's that recruiters lie to you.
Take exit 251 on right to Illinois 59.
To get you working for the company. Okay, and they're kind of like car salesmen. Some of them won't lie to you, and some of them will tell you the truth. Some of them are going to lie to you and tell you whatever you want to hear. But all of them are going to stretch things a little bit. So you can't really base anything off of what a recruiter says. It may be the truth, it may not be the truth, it may be a partial truth, so you need to kind of get an idea from drivers what you can expect.
Take exit 251 on right to Illinois 59.
Say you got a company my company, I average about 3,000 miles a week. Okay, now I've been saying lately that it's 3,300 miles a week, but I've got some weeks that have been a little low, so my average has come down a bit, but I'm still averaging about 3,000 miles a week.
In 1 3/4 miles, turn left on West Jefferson Street.
This thing's going to be giving a lot of directions here. But anyway, so I make about 3,000 miles a week at 29 cents a mile. All right, so if you go to a company that pays 31 cents a mile, but you're only getting 2,700 miles a week, I'm still making more money than you are. Okay. But you see, the thing is that you can't just base the base pay, because a base pay is called a base pay for a reason. It's a starting point. My company also has a performance bonus. So, do you have a performance bonus where you're going? That's definitely something that you want to think about. It's what you want to ask about. I get 29 cents a mile up until I hit 2,000 miles. At 2,000 miles, I get an additional 2 cents per mile. So now my pay is 31 cents a mile. Once I've reached that 2,000 mile mark, now I'm making the same as you'd be making going to a company at 31 cents a mile, except I'm getting more miles. Okay. Next is that 2,500 miles, I get another penny per mile. So now I'm not making 31 cents a mile anymore. I'm making 32 cents a mile. Okay. I'm sorry, I lied to you. I get 3 cents a mile for 2,000. I get 4 cents a mile at 2,500. So, you know, I'm making 32 cents a mile at 2,000, 4 cents or 33 cents at 2,500, and at 3,000 miles I'm making 34 cents a mile. Which is why I'm able to take home a paycheck, you know, around $800 a week right now as a starting first year driver. Okay. Once I've hit that first year, I get a 2-cent increase. So, you know, my base pay then will be 31 cents a mile, you know, and then I'll be making 36 cents a mile.
In 1/2 miles, turn left on West Jefferson Street.
But that's not even all the pay package, because we also get a safety bonus quarterly. Does your company pay a safety bonus? You know, I had one guy that was interested in a company, and I told him, I said, ask your company if he pays us, ask that company if they pay a safety bonus. He asked them. The answer was no. They don't pay a safety bonus. Okay? And that's definitely something that you want to consider.
Turn left on West Jefferson Street.
All right. So my safety bonus is 2 cents per mile. My safety bonus is 2 cents per mile for per quarter for all paid miles driven during that quarter. All right. So let's say that I drive on average 3,000 miles a week. Okay. Over the 12 weeks, that's 36,000 miles. My quarterly bonus is going to be somewhere around $700, $750 gross per quarter. All right, that's just extra money. You know, then at the end of the year, I get another cent per mile for all miles driven throughout the entire year. That could be, you know, up to $2,000. So, you know, you figure that in. You figure that amount of money into your pay. You know, next are paid holidays. Does your company pay you for working on holidays like Thanksgiving or Christmas, you know, or Easter or Memorial Day, you know, things like that? You know, my company pays you for working those days.
In 2.5 miles, keep
or at least they
left
pay me
to
for
West
working
Jefferson
those days,
Street.
'cause I'm on per diem. They don't pay non-per diem for that. But so I mean, I get $50 a day just for being out working that day, whether I drive or not. You know, it's just a flat $50 per day. You know, if I drive, I get whatever I drive plus $50 per day. Okay. So, you know, those are things that you want to consider as part of your pay package. Also, as part of your pay package are benefits. You know, what is the cost of your health insurance? You know, my health insurance is like $20 a week. What is the cost of your life insurance? My company gives free life insurance, and then you can stack life insurance on top of that. You know, what is the cost of your dental insurance? You know, some companies, and there's a couple of them out there that I've seen that have a no-cost insurance. They pay for all your insurance, you know, and that's definitely something to consider. My company doesn't do that, you know, but we have an okay insurance program. You know, the other thing, you know, that you want to consider is 401k. You know, how much is your company going to match on your 401k? You know, these are all things that you want to ask, because all of them together make up your pay package. You know, and all of those things together are going to what's going to determine what you're actually making per year. All right, if you're paying, you know, $100, $200 a week, you know, for insurance, you know, you have to subtract that cost from the amount of money that you're actually making. You know, if you come to my company and the cost of insurance is less, well, then you're making more over time. So those are all things that you want to consider. There's another company that I know about, Raven Transport. You know, they give you a, I don't know, like a debit card or something every week, you know, and they load $25 worth of money on there every week for you to, you know, to eat out on it. And I think it's Pilot or Flying J, you know, something like that. You know, hell, that's $25 a week. That's, you know, $100 a month, you know. That's something to consider. That's part of your pay package. You know, you can consider that as part of your pay package. Some companies have some, you know, benefits like that you just, you know, you can't ignore those things. So, you know, when you're sitting there and you're doing your homework, trying to figure out what kind of company or what company you want to work at, don't just look at the cents per mile, because the cents per mile might look good, but everything else, you know, once you consider everything else in, a company that pays just a little bit less in cents per mile might actually be better, because, you know, all of the other stuff stacked onto it, at the end of the year you come out making more. So anyway, that's just my deal right there. That's what I had to say on this one, and I hope it's helped you out a little bit in trying to figure out, you know, where it is that you want to go to work. And I'll say one last thing about it. Some people like me have no choice
in 3/4 of a mile. Keep left
get into
to
this
West
driving
Jefferson
career
Street
by using a starter company. All right. In other words, you know, people like me that had no resources, no other way to do it, have to rely on a company that provides their own training in order to get their foot in the door in this industry. Okay. And that's going to come out at some point. There's a cost to that. Okay, nothing in this world
keep
is
left
free.
onto West Jefferson Street.
You can look at your training program at a company that you decide to go to work for, and you can say, well, you know, this is free training. I don't have to pay anything out of pocket, you know, or you know, I have to pay, in my case,
continue on West Jefferson Street,
$500 out of pocket. But I'm here to tell you that there's nothing in this world that's free, and I mean nothing, including the training that you're going to get at the starter company that you go to. You know, free is a relative term. You know, you look at this term free and you say, you know, well, I didn't have to pay anything out of pocket, so it's free. No, it's not free. Yeah, you didn't have to pay anything out of pocket, but I can guarantee you paid something. Either you're going to pay out of your check, or you're going to pay with a reduced pay package. All right. There's companies out there that only pay you, you know, 19, 20 cents a mile, and I don't know. Maybe there may be some that even pay less than that. I couldn't imagine making less than that. But I've talked to people, and I'm not going to get into any company bashing. I don't do that, or at least I try not to do that. But I've talked to some people who work for one of these starter companies, and who have actually brought home a negative paycheck. Okay, because they make so little money and they had so many deductions coming out, and that they ended the week actually owing the company money. You know. And that just completely blows my mind, you know, that somebody would go to work for a company like that blindly without realizing the cost of getting their training. Because there is a cost to it. No matter how you plan to do it, no matter how you get into this industry, there's a cost. Nothing in this world is free, and I mean absolutely nothing, including the cost of your training. Okay, so you know, it may come out, you know, as an out-of-pocket expense, and it may come out as a payroll deduction, or it may come out as a reduced pay package, you know, or it may come out as any combination of the above. You know, for me, it came out as a $500 out-of-pocket expense and a weekly deduction for my paycheck. Okay, I'm paying $5,000 for, you know, for the school, for me to go to work for Millis. That cost was $500 out of pocket, 50 payments at $20 a week, plus 1 year contract working for the company in order to forgive the last $2,500. All right, so there's a cost, believe that. If that cost is too high, then you're not going to make any money. All right, you're going to come home with $200, $300, $400 paychecks because A, you're not getting the miles that you need in order to stack money up. B, the pay package is so low that the miles that you are getting don't stack up. And C, because the deductions coming out to pay for your stuff reduce what you are making down to a point that you can't even hardly live off of. And that's definitely something that you want to take into account when you do your homework. You want to know what the pay package is, you want to know what you can expect to take home every week, and you want to make sure that you're going to be able to survive off of that for the time that you have to contract to that company for getting the school that you've gotten. Now, it's always preferable, if possible, to take your training through a third-party source. In other words, through a college or through a private school that is not providing your employment. Okay, that there's a positive side and a downside to that. The positive side is that you're going to come out of that training not owing a company a ton of money. You're still going to have to pay for that training somehow. You're either going to have to pay for it with a loan, with a grant, or you're going to have to pay out of pocket. So, and then you've got to pay that loan back. Like I said, some companies have tuition reimbursement programs, so you might be able to get some help from the company to pay that back. But you're going to have to pay it back. There's still a cost. But you don't have to contract to a company to work for them, and then you don't have to accept the lowest end pay package because they're paying for your school. All right, so I'm sitting here at 29 cents a mile. Had I done my training through a third-party provider, through a school or something, I may have been able to get a job working for 35, 34, 36 cents a mile, something like that, in my first year. But I just couldn't do it. There was no way for me to do it. I didn't have the finances to come out with, to spend $6,000 on the school. I looked at it. I tried to get loans. I tried to get grants. There just wasn't anything available for me. And and that's just the way it is. When I was in the Army, I was very short-sighted. I turned down the GI Bill. That's my fault. I shouldn't have done it. I regret doing it now, but I did it. So there was nothing out there for me to refer to. So, I'm in the situation that I'm in. Anyway, it's always preferable to avoid getting in that situation by paying for your school outright. The downside to that is that you don't have a guaranteed job, and then you have to go job hunting, and you have to find somebody that will hire you out of school. You might get lucky, you might not. Depends on how hard you work for it and how hard you want it. All right, that's my talk on determining a job by pay package, pros and cons. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this off because I've drug it on as I normally do. It's gotten a little long. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off now. Please give me your comments. Like it, dislike it, share it, subscribe. Get people to subscribe. I checked the other day. I was up to like 66 or 67 subscribers. It's been a slow increase, but I appreciate every one of you. Y'all are what make it worth me doing this. So y'all take care, and we'll catch you next time. Peace out.